Right, on to the all happening in Tanzania, JD, our resident Tanzania expert, or your father probably is. But look, all happening, a couple of projects, bit of government signing, all happening at once. What's going on over in sunny Africa, mate?
Yeah, that's right. So PEK, Rare Earths, Evolution Energy and Ecograph have all come out with announcements today from a signing ceremony with the government of Tanzania. Like you said, the president of the country was there too. So they've all come out with variously worded documents, framework agreements, special mining licenses. They've all been signed. So it's something that each of these companies had flagged last week, that it all told the market that they've booked in the date with the government, and they're now come out today and said these have been signed. So this is a pretty big deal. If we roll back the clock about 5 or 6 years, the state of Tanzania and foreign direct investment in the country was quite different, and it all sort of came to a head in 2017 when Acacia Mining got given a tax bill of $190 billion US. So that was with regards to apparently not paying the right taxes, going back a long way. So that was a company that was majority owned by Barrick. They eventually settled that for $300 million, but that sort of case essentially closed off Tanzania to foreign direct investment for quite a few years. And it had to wait really until the president at the time passed away. A new president came in, a new mining code was drawn up. And along with these sorts of agreements that we've seen today, we saw OreCorp come out with in the last year and a half or so, really shows the market that Tanzania is open for business again. So the structure they've gone forward with is something that we see across the board in Africa in various different sort of structures. So the government will have a non-dilutable 16% free carried interest. Now, what that means for people new to the investment space is that the government will essentially be given 16% of the company. They won't have to pay for that 16%, obviously, and they won't have to make the capital expenditures and investments going forward. So it's worth just comparing how this looks in Tanzania versus other countries, and whether it sort of stacks up, and whether that might be in a jurisdiction that you might want to invest in. So we look at places like Mali. They have a 10% free carried interest. Congo, 10%. Burkina Faso, 10%. Guinea came out with 15%. Ghana, 10%. And it's also important to note that a lot of these also incorporate a royalty type of structure. They often include a right to acquire more, and also worth remembering that there are various tax policies in all of these countries, so they can sort of balance and weigh each other off. So on the other hand, you'll have countries in Africa that won't have these free carried interests at all, but they might have a much stronger emphasis on royalties. So I think the key thing for investors going to places like this, and even in Western countries as well, is just to really look for stability. That's what all investors want. And I think now that they have this in Tanzania, debt investors, equity investors will be much more comfortable. Then they can just sort of assess the asset for what it is. And I think the next key step for all of these projects that we've highlighted today will be to secure that funding and go on and construct the projects.
Because those royalties as well, they're calculated off the usually, or correct me if I'm wrong, like the gross sales revenue, not the actual profit. So if they're, depending on what they produce and their costs are too high, it can really take a chunk out of their profits.
Yeah, you'll have an NSR, net smelter royalty, and they can often be on sliding scales. For example, in Zambia, you'll see, depending on what the copper price is, that scale will slide higher.
There you go, trip to Tanzania. Let's go to I've gone blank. The jungle. The savannah. That's in Tanzania, isn't it?
Is it?
The savannah.
Is it?
The savannah's in Tanzania.
Learning every day, if you mate.
If it's not the name of a mine, I don't know it.
We're going with Tanzania.